Hey everybody, it's PartyElite, and today we're checking out Plan B Terraform, a gorgeous game inspired by the supply chain management systems of the likes of Factorio, wrapped around the core concept of terraforming an entire planet for human habitation. A core concept you can actually see playing out on the main menu over here as the barren red landscape turns into a lush green and blue with growing cityscapes and a beautiful backing track. Folks, I'm so glad I came across this demo during the Steam Base Building Fest. It's been a joy to play, and if you like what you see here today, I highly recommend you add the game to your wishlist as a great way to support the developer, independent as they are, and also as a great way to stay up to date with the development of the game itself. It is releasing into early access over the course of the next couple of weeks, and if you grab the demo for yourself, your save file will transfer over to that early access build, which is something I might consider doing if you're interested in seeing more of the game in action on the channel. With that said, folks, if you like these kinds of games and if you'd like more of them highlighted in your life, you might want to consider subscribing to this channel, as it's a big part of what I try to do around these parts. With that said, and with no more time to waste, let's get this party started, shall we? The first order of business to that end is to actually generate a new planet, and I do mean a whole planet. It's algorithmically generated, which means each time you start a new run, you'll have fresh challenges and fresh considerations. So yes, let's call this one the Elite Planet and hope that it lives up to its name. The premise of the game is extremely simple. The complexity comes from all of its systems that come together for that premise. And what is that premise? Well, your company has been mandated to manage the resources of the newly discovered planet. You must bring supplies to the cities and manage terraforming projects. Good luck. That easy. Or so it seems. And like I said, folks, when I said planet, I did mean planet. We can zoom out, scroll around, and inspect all aspects of this planet and build as we deem fit. We have a few central locations that act as hubs for our cities. We have New Fukuoka, which I'm definitely butchering the pronunciation of. We have over here New Yangon, and up over here New Kinshasa. Of course, all three names that I'm going to have a terrible time pronouncing, so I apologize for the butchering that's happening right off the bat over here. Nonetheless, as you can see, we have access to the entire planet, and you might be able to tell there are a few different resource hubs that we'll need to tap into for different kinds of productivity. If we just flip over to the minerals view, you can see it a bit more clearly. We have a few different kinds of minerals, and if we flip over to the water view, you can see that at present, we don't really have access to anything, but of course it's going to be important down the line if we're trying to make this a sustainable endeavor, right? Now, we are going to be playing through the tutorial. It is a demo build, so there's no option to skip past that, but it does highlight many of the key mechanics, giving us some freedom and choice as well. First order of business is to select one iron with the left mouse button. Let's go ahead and establish what as our center here. How about New Yangon? It seems to have the most variety nearby. We've got iron, which I believe is the bright orange, the yellow is sulfur, and the gray is aluminium. So a decent bit of variety in the area, and I do believe green here is fluorite, though we don't get to explore exactly what that does in the demo if memory serves me correctly. Nonetheless, New Yangon is going to be our central hub over here. Again, all three of these are central hubs. They all start with a small population, but as you focus on them individually, you actually grow them, and, well, it's a sight to behold, at least in my opinion. Let's go ahead and find our iron deposit up over here. I do believe it was right there, and select one of these so that we can move on with the tutorial, which will next teach us how to build extractors to actually pull the iron out. So we have, 6 extractors available. Let's go ahead and pop some of these guys down and find a sweet spot to put them down. Let's go ahead and, yeah, sure, drop you down over here. And pretty soon, I'm sure it'll ask me to put a few more down. And these guys, as you might expect, will extract the resource that they're built upon for you to use for different kinds of manufacturing and production. But to actually extract the goods, you need a depot where those goods will be placed. So let's go ahead and put a depot down over here, and let's go ahead and assign this depot to stockpile iron. Doing so, we'll have this drone here pick up iron as soon as it gets extracted and drop it off at this depot, and then we can go ahead and build a factory next to the depot, assigning the factory to build something that needs iron. And you might be able to tell what happens. The drone takes the iron to that factory, so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get a factory placed right down over here, I suppose. That should be okay. And we should be able to tell the factory what to build. By default, it is producing steel bars, though eventually we'll be able to unlock additional options and recipes as well, requiring different kinds of raw materials. Let's go ahead and build 10 extractors and place them on the ground. We have just 5 available for the time being, so why don't we go ahead and pop these guys down like so. again, they have the central depot where they're going to be dropping off everything they pick up. That should be relatively effective over here. And why don't we go ahead and continue that process up over here. We have 2 more to place. Let's get, well, what am I thinking here? Sure, 1 and 2. Let's get a depot down over here to bring iron in from multiple directions. And we could establish another factory somewhere in the central area over here to produce additional steel bars. Why don't we go ahead and do that? We have 2 available, as you can see highlighted over here. Let's get this one placed to build, yes, steel bars. Let's get a depot placed over here to actually collect those steel bars from both of these factories as they get produced. And let's go ahead and produce an assembly plant down over here, sure, and have that assembly plant take those steel bars to produce extractors. Again, it takes 3 steel bars here to produce 1 extractor, and so you can kind of see how this system works. We need to build 10 extractors. We've put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 4 more. They'll take some time, but ultimately it's a matter of getting the iron, converting that iron into steel bars, and then converting those steel bars into extractors. Let's go ahead and speed time up a little bit so we can get this done a little bit more quickly. And again, as you might imagine, this basic system escalates very quickly as a lot of the same buildings are used to produce a variety of recipes, and a lot of the time those recipes require multiple different resources as opposed to just 1 or 2. So you can very easily see how this can escalate and become rather chaotic in a very, very fun way, at least in my humble opinion. Now let's go ahead and place a couple of these extractors down. Let's get 1 down over here. So that's 7 right now, and I suppose I can get another set somewhere over here. I suppose 1, 2, 3, sure. And we'll hook them up eventually. Let's follow the tutorial for the time being, right? Next objective is to build 5 factories and place them on the ground. Use the factory to transform steel into mechanical parts. That will allow us to, I think, build more factories at the assembly plant. So let's get these factories here, pursuing mechanical parts. These will actually cost steel bars. So let's switch things up a little bit. We've got steel bars ending up over here, so let's get a factory established over here. And this guy will go ahead and produce mechanical parts. So we'll have the steel bars end up at this depot, and then they'll get picked up and dropped off over here to produce extractors, and separately over here to produce mechanical parts. Those mechanical parts will then allow us to make, if I recall correctly, yes, additional assembly plants or additional factories, and factories are what we're chasing right now. So let's get this switched so it's not stealing those steel bars that we need to produce the mechanical parts, and let's go ahead and get a depot set up down over here to actually store those mechanical parts, because otherwise they'll just be stuck there. Those depots are vital for the actual movement of resources. Production happens at factories, assembly plants, and excavation happens at extractors, but storage and movement requires depots. So right now, as you can see, it sort of takes a shortcut with the animation, which I rather like. Even though this is assigned to mechanical parts, the drone just picks them up from over here and drops them off over here so it can start producing more factories. And how many more do we need exactly? We need 5, right? So how many do I have already? I got 1, 2, 3. We need 2 more, and I'm just curious what I'm going to have them producing. I suppose I could attach one up over here, right? So let's get that set up. Get a depot over here, have this picking up iron. Let's go ahead and set up a factory closer to this side just so it's able to connect more easily, I suppose. Or why don't we wondering if I set up an excavator there and a depot over here. Sure, let's get the factory set up over here. Let's keep it simple for the time being. Let's get you over there, and let's get you producing steel bars. Sure. We'll need another factory as well, right? Let's get this factory set up over here as well, and that completes that objective for us. We'll take a look at that screen shortly. I just want to make sure that we've got a depot set up to actually pull those steel bars down to here, just so that production is able to continue without us needing to keep an eye on things getting backed up, I suppose. But yes, let's take a look at our next objective over here. We're going to try and reach a population of 10 in our biggest city. For that, we need to build a supply center next to a city, and then we have to bring to it resources it requires so the city grows. Let's go ahead and take a look at our nearest city. Again, that is New Yangon over here. Again, just butchering the pronunciation, I do apologize. But what does it need next to it? It needs a supply center. To get a supply center, we need concrete. Now, how do we produce concrete? Let's go ahead and take a look at our factory for some hints there. I'll zoom out. The distance is actually... Oh, there we go. I scrolled right past it. Let's take a look at our factory over here. To produce concrete, we need sulfur. All right, cool. So let's zoom on out and find ourselves a sulfur deposit. Again, I could go anywhere. I could have this happening all the way up over here, or literally anywhere else. But of course, we've got a rather ideal spot next to New Yangon, which is what we're going to take advantage of. I think we could actually get sulfur down over here. I think that's a bit closer than the deposits up over here. So sure, let's focus down here and let's get ourselves some extractors going, right? Do we have a good kind of a surrounded hex? Here, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and do 1 and 2? And at the same time, let's head on up to our assembly plants over here to make sure we are producing more extractors, because we're going to need more extractors. Do I want to stop these mechanical parts from being produced? I think I do. Let's get you flipped to steel bars, just to again make sure the resources are headed in the right direction to produce those extractors. I keep wanting to say excavators, those extractors that we need to, you know, further extract sulfur. Let's get a depot set up right in the middle. We'll have to actually assemble some of those. So back up to our plants over here, just to see if we can't get depots coming through. Yes, they will cost some steel bars. That's fine by me. Go ahead and consume some. And at the same time, we'll have hopefully some extractors coming through as well, right? Rather, hang on a second. You're collecting steel bars. You're producing steel bars. You're producing steel bars. Are we seeing any progress here? Yeah, slowly but surely. Let's go ahead and speed time up. We'll eventually get this guy working on depots as well. No rush, no pressure. Pretty chill in many ways, truth be told. But that's for starters. I'm sure it escalates and it gets wild real fast when you have multiple supply chains that you have to manage and balance. Let's go ahead and pop 1, 2, and 3 down. Cool. Back up to our location over here to get this guy swapped over to the depot. Again, it needs steel bars. Steel bars are being stored over here, right? So this is going to operate smoothly, and we just need the one depot, but why don't we go ahead and produce a bunch? It's not going to hurt us to have extras in our back pocket. Depots are, as you can see, extremely important for the movement of goods. Let's get a depot set up over here. This will focus on sulfur, and I do believe we'll need a factory, right, to produce the required concrete, which will then allow us to build supply centers. Supply center itself will require, I assume, a assembly plant. Let's go ahead and check up over here just to make sure. Again, you want to make sure you're optimizing the resources that you're using and what you're actually using them for. But yes, we do need a assembly plant, or an assembly plant, I should say, to produce supply center. So back down over here where we'll place the assembly plant next to this factory. We have one available to us. Excellent. Pop you down there. Go ahead and get a depot down over here so we can transport concrete right up to here where we'll produce a supply center. Or perhaps 2 or 3. We'll see. Nonetheless, let's get that supply center done, and then we'll need to place the supply center next to New Yangon over here, and then we'll have to supply said supply center with supplies to supply the city with the supplies from the supply center. That was not intentional. I just kind of went and didn't stop. My apologies. Nonetheless, supply center is ready to go, so let's go ahead and pop you down over here. And this bad boy needs to actually get concrete using trucks. In order to do so, we need to use not depots, but roads and road stops. So back down to over here, where this assembly plant should be able to produce all of those using, yes, concrete. Let's get that party started. And separately at the same time, up top over here, this assembly plant should be able to produce trucks using mechanical parts. Excellent. Let's make sure this factory is back to producing mechanical parts then, using those same steel bars from earlier. And then we should be able to use those resources to produce our, depots and, what's the word I'm looking for? Convoys. There we go. Truck convoys to actually get the resources to where they need to go. So down over here, we're producing road after road. We have quite a few parts available, but we can't actually load things up using just the road. For that, you need a road stop, and that road stop needs to be adjacent to a depot to allow for the transfer of goods. So let's go ahead and make sure that we at least produce a couple of road stops with the concrete that we're extracting, and eventually we'll flip back to building more roads. And we'll get the road stop established over here, and where we go? Up over here. That is actually a very short distance. Wow. this worked out very conveniently for us. This is really quite nice. The first time I played through the demo, it was not so convenient. It was a lot more challenging, but this has worked out very nicely. Let's get this stop down over here, and let's get this stop up over here, I suppose, and let's get a depot up over here. Like I said, doesn't hurt to have extra depots in our back pocket, right? This thing needs to stockpile concrete because that's what the supply center is asking for the time being. Eventually, it'll ask for more, don't worry. And down over here, let's go ahead and connect this to this. Ooh, that's not very neat, is it? Let's head on down to here for the time being. Wait for a few more roads to be prepared, and then we should be able to connect these guys and get some trucks going as well. I do believe we have a handful of trucks available right now, but we'll investigate that when it becomes necessary to do so. Separately, as we're waiting for some of this stuff to get prepared, you can see up over here we have seasonal considerations. I imagine that becomes more important as you have larger populations and more things to consider. You can see over here as well, we have atmospheric data evolution. I'm sure this stuff will be more relevant as you start terraforming and start concerning yourself with, what you're producing, where. It's rather interesting to see some of these things being tracked because it makes me curious as to, what considerations come up as you make progress through the game. Nonetheless, I do believe we have enough road tiles now to get us all the way to our depot. Let's try and make this a little bit tidier, though at the same time, the shorter the route is, the better it is for us overall. I think we'll be fine coming up this way, hopefully. Let's creep up this way. How about we do this? Sure, I like that well enough. And let's have a destination set from here up to here. And just to let you know, any set of these road stops and the roads that connect them can only move one good. So if you're trying to move multiple goods, you need multiple road stops going to the same end destination from multiple different starting points, rather. So let's get this one set to move concrete. And in order to actually move the concrete, yes, we have to assign trucks. As you can see at the bottom right corner over here, we have 18 available. Let's go ahead and get them all working on this line. And that way, what's going to happen is they're going to pick the concrete up from this depot. As you can see, this drone is quickly moving back and forth, and they're going to go ahead and move up this road and deliver those resources to this depot up over here, which will in turn deliver those resources to the supply center, and that will in turn allow our new Yangon city over here to grow. So, I don't know how to say it. It's so simple. And yet you can see the potential for immense complexity as you have, multiple resources needing to move from point A to point B, and from point B to point C, and from point A to point C, and from point D to point C, and so on and so forth. It looks gorgeous. I love the art style. I love the aesthetic. I love how the UI looks as well. I love the music. I really do love this game in its current state. I think the demo is absolutely gorgeous in so many meanings of the word, and again, I'm just glad I'm able to showcase it on the channel for you today. So as we can see over here, the supply center has got a good supply of concrete. You can see down over here as well, the annual supply demand is going higher and higher as this city now is growing, and over time your cities will ask for more resources to make sure you maintain their growth. So for the time being, again, like I was saying earlier, it's just concrete, but you'll see as time goes on, they'll ask for more and more things. Right now it's a population of 4. As these trucks continue to go back and forth, you'll see, again, a steady supply of concrete is going to result in a steady supply of population growth. If we take a look at our progression panel over here, looks like we're just targeting a population of 10. That shouldn't take too long. We're already at 5. Let's go ahead and triple speed it. And just watch the flow of goods. Again, we have many more trucks now, right? So we can go ahead and add a few more to this this train over here. I suppose we call it a train of trucks. That doesn't make any sense. This chain of trucks. But separate from that as well, again, just as a reminder, as we actually reach level 4 over here, the trucks are being produced up over here using their own supply chain, which is horribly backlogged right now because I'm more focused on progression than I am, finessing my approach. But those trucks then are being used down over here. So you can see why having a massive planet at your disposal makes a bit of a difference, right? Let's say you're located close to a bunch of iron deposits, but you don't have any sulfur near you. You might have a whole different factory set elsewhere to produce, concrete and stuff, and then find ways to bring that resource over to where you need it. Again, it's just the scale of it is truly immense. It's planet-sized. Nonetheless, we're over to the next level, right? So let's head on over to New Yangon, where you can see the city has expanded a little bit, but with that expansion come additional demands. Let's take a look at our progression panel again. We need to reach a population of 100 in our biggest city. Bigger cities require new resources. Now, entering level 4 has unlocked the aluminium bar, carbon, oxygen, atmospheric extractor, and the landmark tower. For the purpose of our progression over here, our main focus is to grow New Yangon to a population of 100, and for starters, we're going to need oxygen in order to do that. So how do we get oxygen? Well, we're going to need an atmospheric extractor. This requires 3 mechanical parts and 1 aluminium bar. So mechanical parts are produced up over where? Up over here. But if we want aluminium bars, we need to find aluminium. Now, where do we have aluminium? This is fluorite, so that's not going to work out. It's going to be from all the way down over here, eh? Yes, aluminium ore to produce aluminium bars. All right, fair enough. Let's go ahead and make sure we are actually producing the extractors and depots that we need to get this work done. So back up over here, let's get you producing not trucks anymore, thank you, but factories, I suppose. And up over here, got a bunch of steel bars. These steel bars can be turned into a variety of things. So let's get an assembly plant up over here. Well, we can't yet. Who produces assembly plants? Does the assembly plant produce assembly plants? I suppose it does, using mechanical parts. Let's get at least one more queued up, and then we can maybe set another one up over here. So this will take a little bit of time to produce, and in just a moment's time, yes, we'll be able to place an assembly plant up over here, and from here, get you set to produce extractors, I suppose. You're doing what? I suppose you can do an atmospheric extractor eventually. Sure. And we'll want depots. We have plenty of depots. We have plenty of roads as well. Okay, so that's all feeling pretty good, because eventually we'll have to connect the aluminium down over here to all the way up over here so that we have all the resources available. We could have them meet somewhere in the middle as well, of course, to combine their efforts and ultimately make the atmospheric extractor, because again, it'll need mechanical parts that are produced up over here and aluminium bars which are produced down over here. So maybe they meet in the middle, maybe they go from one to the other. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But what do we have over here? Well, not enough to make an atmospheric extractor, but we have enough extractors. Yes, we do. So back down to over here, where we can now place, let's say, 1, 2, 3. We can go ahead and get a depot down over here as well. This guy will stockpile aluminium ore, and then we can go ahead and get a factory set up over here to get that aluminium ore turned into aluminium bars, right? Then, in turn, we'll need to get a depot set up over here, let's say, and this guy will stockpile aluminium bars, and then we need a road stop right next to it, and a road stop all the way up over here. I'm going to go end to end. Let's do it. Let's get the road stop up over here, which will unload onto a depot, and this depot will stockpile aluminium bars, and then we just need a massive road. So starting over there, let's go ahead and get as far as we can get, which for the time being is down to here, and let's continue to produce more road pieces, I suppose. What are we actually doing here? Producing roads? Producing roads. Okay, excellent. Wow. I mean, again, there's definitely probably a more efficient way to execute this. If they met in the middle, perhaps we'd establish a factory over here, and that would probably work out a bit more cleanly. But for the time being, and for the purposes of this demo, I think this is working out just fine. Let's go ahead and speed time up a bit to get all the road pieces that we'll need to execute on this, and keep slowly expanding downwards, and eventually we'll hopefully have enough trucks to make this movement of goods viable as well. Up over here, yeah, I mean, I guess we focus on roads for the time being, but up over here, we can go ahead and focus on trucks instead, just so we have that many more trucks to move these goods back and forth, right? This is continuing to produce extractors, which is not a problem. I suppose I could go down over here and put some more extractors down, if I can find them. There we go. Pop you down over here, and I guess I'll expand out this way, right? I can do this kind of a thing and get another depot placed over here to stockpile aluminium ore. Again, the size of the deposit does make a difference. As you can see, they do have mineral quantity listed in the bottom right corner over here, so that means it does make a difference with regards to how much you can actually gather. These guys will be excavated to nothingness, and so you will have to consider, you know, expanding your your operations as far as maintaining a flow of goods and resources, obviously. Let's go ahead and continue the expansion of our road over here. This trans-planet highway, I guess. I was gonna say transnational, but there's no nation here just quite yet. But it is going, I mean, from hemisphere to hemisphere, trans-hemisphere highway, I guess. Okay, not really. Okay, it's not that big. Okay, that's maybe a little bit of hyperbole, but it's still an impressive project nonetheless. Hopefully it will actually connect properly, though. Oh, of course, we're just a little off. That's fine. That's fine. Pop you over to there, and let's speed time up a little bit further, and get this set up. I really hope I didn't forget to connect, depots or something. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine. We're good. Head on back down to here. There's enough road pieces, I think. Connect you. Excellent. And let's go ahead and get you setting your destination to all the way up over here to move aluminum bars with, I guess, like 27 trucks. That sounds good to me. Yeah, sure. Well, 28 by the time I finish clicking. Sounds excellent to me. So all the way down over here, these guys are a little backed up. Fair enough. But they are, yeah, loading up and making their way over. Excellent. Beautiful stuff. And as they arrive over here, again, this will stockpile those aluminum bars, and this bad boy over here is going to produce an atmospheric extractor, and he's going to keep producing them, I suppose, until I tell it to do otherwise. Again, in a regular playthrough, I'd be paying a lot more attention to things getting backlogged and expanding a little bit more consistently, but for the time being, just want to highlight the progression of the entire demo, just to show you, all the moving parts that we have available to us for the time being. And my goodness, this route is extremely long, isn't it? These trucks, oh boy. Well, they're making their way over, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and speed time up a little bit. Wow. The scale of it is just immense. And I'm kind of glad that I got the chance to do this, because it really does illustrate how much of a difference it makes to do things close to each other versus far apart from each other. It really gives a sense of scale beyond just zooming out and scrolling around. So it's kind of impressive. I didn't get a chance to see it in action quite like this during my previous playthrough when I was first learning the game. So this is something special in its own way for me as well. But I do believe we are almost done with an atmospheric extractor. Oh, actually, we have quite a few of them. So why don't we head on down to New Yangon to establish the atmospheric extractor, which will produce dioxygen and carbon from the atmosphere. Did I say? Yeah. That's what we need, right? Dioxygen is what we need, if memory serves me correctly. Yes. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and get the atmospheric extractor set up over, let's say, here. Because what we should be able to do is get a depot set up over here to stockpile the O2, and get a separate depot set up over, let's say, here to stockpile the carbon that comes out of the atmospheric extractor as well. So this guy is going to slowly produce oxygen and carbon. Why don't we go ahead and set up an additional atmospheric extractor just to accelerate the process? And they don't need any input resources, they just need the atmosphere around them. So it'll take them a bit of time, but as you can see, they're going to make some progress, and this supply center is slowly but surely going to gather all those resources and continue to provide New Yangon with what it needs for growth. So let's speed up time once more and just see the slow process of growth over here. Again, you can see at the bottom right corner, status is currently growing, and that's because we have a constant supply of everything we need. And again, the visual representation of that growth is rather nice. Again, it's minimalist. Simple is a strange word. It can sometimes come with negative connotations. Sometimes it seems unintentional, but no, this is very intentional. It is minimalist. It is executed exactly as it wants to be, and I mean, you can tell I'm enamored. It's just so nice, and we've hit a population of 47 right now. We're about to hit 50, so about halfway through our goal, and you can see again, we're not responsible for things like, the wind farms and whatever these things are. Like that looks like it's a water well or something. And maybe we've got some solar panels here and there. We're not responsible for those things. We're responsible for the big picture movement of resources, and then all the minutia is being handled by the game and the people themselves. But we're about to hit a population of 100. We're almost there. We're at 99. There's the 100, and there's the demo completed. So beyond the demo, we have access to additional resources. Look at it, Depot's MK2 drones. I wish I could see what else there is to see over here. The objective is to reach a population of 300, so just seeing how things are escalating, you can imagine just how much further it's going to get. But yeah, Depot Mark II drones have something or the other, but Depot Mark IIs are just an alternative to Depots, I suppose. Separately, we're able to produce polymer bars using carbon and plastic waste. Interesting, okay. And we have over here reinforced concrete with embedded steel bars, requiring concrete and steel bars. Again, you can see now how the movement of resources from one end of the planet to the other might become more and more complex, even just looking at level 5 over here. And then high-tech parts require aluminium bars and polymer bars which are produced using carbon and plastic waste. I don't even know where plastic waste would come from. Maybe it's generated by our cities, maybe it's generated by the supply centers, I'm not sure. What I do know is that for the next stage of our city's growth, we would need reinforced concrete if we were able to actually produce that in the demo. But unfortunately, folks, I believe we're not actually able to do that. We could take a look at our factory down over here just to see if it is in fact an option, and seems to not be. So this is well and truly where the demo comes to an end, folks. I hope it was a decent showcase of what the game has to offer. It is a very short demo, yes, but it's got enough meat to it, I think, really show the moving parts. Again, the demo is available if you want to check it out for yourself. Head on over to Plan B Terraform on Steam, and if you like the game and you decide to pick it up in early access, it will transfer the save over so you can continue your progress and see what early access has to offer as well. Folks, again, if you like what you see today, please don't hesitate to add the game to your wish list. It's a great way to stay up to date with development and, again, to support the indie developers. And if you enjoyed this episode, this short showcase of a fresh game, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel as well, because it's something I want to do more and more of on the channel. And if you're interested, that's a great way to let me know. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.